What if I told you being nice cost Magic Johnson $50,000?
People, the NBA just announced it has fined the Lakers $50,000.
Seriously, back in 2018, Magic wasn't just an NBA legend. He was running the Lakers front office. So, when he gave an interview on ESPN, everything he said was monitored like it came from the White House. During this segment, he said something real sweet about Giannis Antetokounmpo. This kid is gonna be like an MVP of the league, the NBA champion, and he's gonna lead Milwaukee to a championship. That's it. He didn't say he'd look great in purple and gold. He didn't say we're gonna try and get him. He literally said Giannis was gonna bring one to Milwaukee, not LA. But the league? They called that tampering and fined Magic $50,000 just for a wholesome compliment. That's like being fined for calling Beyoncé talented. The league didn't care.
The other teams seem to be able to follow those rules, and that is don't talk about players on other teams.
The rulebook said no influencing other players, even with praise. But if you thought that was a weird use of power, wait till you see what Steve Kerr did during an actual NBA game. What if your boss just didn't show up to work? Now, imagine your boss did show up, smiled, handed you the keys, and said, "You got this today." That's exactly what happened in February 2018. The Golden State Warriors were in Phoenix to play the lowly Suns, a team with 18 wins, a fired coach, and a lottery pick on speed dial. And Steve Kerr, he said, "Nah, I'm good." He literally let his players coach the entire game. From timeouts to substitutions to drawing up plays, Draymond and Andre ran the show. And here's the crazy part. It worked. The Warriors blew the Suns out by 46. They had fun doing it. They even joked about it afterward like it was recess. But not everyone was laughing. Dudley called it a slap in the face. Fans were divided. Was it brilliant team building or straight up disrespect? The league didn't step in, but Kerr, he made one thing clear. Coaching that team wasn't rocket science. But speaking of blowing things up, wait till you hear what the Cavs did that same season when they traded half their roster overnight. Like, literally, everybody. Imagine waking up to find out you got traded, and then realizing half your teammates did too. Welcome to the 2018 Cleveland Cavaliers, a team that had just gone to the finals. A team with LeBron James in MVP form. A team that pressed the panic button mid-season and blew it all up. It started with whispers, chemistry issues, locker room tension, guys not buying in. But nobody expected this. By the time the trade deadline hit, the Cavs sent 6 players packing, including Dwayne Wade, LeBron's best friend. And in return, they brought in young legs. Nance Jr., Clarkson, Hood, and Hill. LeBron went from Team Banana Boat to Team Fresh Start in one afternoon. Analysts were stunned. Fans were split. Even the players were shocked. Some found out on Twitter mid-practice. But here's the wildest part. It kinda worked. The new squad helped LeBron carry Cleveland back to the finals again. But deep down, everyone still wondered, what if they had just kept Kyrie? Speaking of moments that made the entire NBA do a double take, you won't believe what happened that same weekend. A national anthem performance that became a meme in real time. It was supposed to be patriotic. It turned into a punchline. After 24 hours, it broke the entire internet. February 18th, 2018. The lights dimmed. The anthem began. And then Fergie hit us with the remix nobody asked for.
Oh, say, can you see?
A slow, sultry jazz club version of the national anthem that had the players looking around like, is this a joke? Steph Curry bit his lip. Draymond Green straight up laughed. Even Jimmy Kimmel couldn't keep a straight face. This wasn't just a bad performance. It was so bad it transcended basketball. The clip went viral within seconds, shared by athletes, comedians, even news anchors. Charles Barkley couldn't resist on Inside the NBA. "I need a cigarette after that performance." It got so wild that Fergie issued a public apology, saying she tried her best and was just taking a risk. But that didn't stop the NBA from immortalizing the moment. The very next season, Draymond Green danced to a remix of her anthem after a win. The league had jokes. But hey, it's hard to top a train wreck like that. Unless, of course, you consider the time LeBron James was rumored to join the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, that happened. Coming up next, the NBA world stood still when a report dropped that had fans screaming, "There's no way, right?" No trades were made. No jerseys were leaked. But for 72 straight hours, the entire league held its breath. It was February 2018. The trade deadline was approaching, and out of nowhere, a report drops. LeBron James might take a meeting with the Golden State Warriors. Not the Rockets, not the Sixers. The 73-win, already dynastic, Kevin Durant-loaded Golden State Warriors. And the NBA world imploded. Reporters scrambled. Fans argued in group chats. Hell, Skip Bayless probably needed a cold shower. Even LeBron's haters didn't know how to process it. Because if that happened, it would have been a wrap. Not just for the season, for the league. But before anyone could fully panic, LeBron shut it down.
It's nonsense, and it's a non-story.
He said he had no plans to meet with the Warriors. But not before the thought had already scorched every NBA subreddit alive. And just when you thought the league couldn't get any weirder, the very next week, a random dude somehow ended up on the court in warm-ups, posing as a Pelicans player. And it worked. Up next, a fake baller checks into warm-ups, gets a shot off, and nearly makes the roster without even being in the league. Picture this. You're sitting courtside at an NBA game. Warm-ups are on. The lights are bright. And one of the players lines up a three. Splash. But something's off. Because that wasn't a player. That was a fan who straight up snuck onto the floor in full team gear and got a shot up before anyone noticed. This happened in New Orleans. A random dude dressed in Pelicans warm-ups casually strolled onto the court and stayed out there for 19 seconds. Security? Sleeping. Coaches didn't bat an eye. Even the players didn't say a word. Eventually, a guard caught on, grabbed him, and escorted him back to his seat. But not before he took a legit shot. He didn't make the roster, but he made history. And speaking of making something out of nothing, what if I told you LeVar Ball actually created his own league? And yes, it was real. You remember when LeVar Ball said he could beat Michael Jordan one-on-one?
One-on-one, I would kill him in my heyday. I'm too big and too strong. Murder him.
We all laughed. Then he dropped $500 shoes. Then he pulled LaMelo out of high school. Then he said Lonzo was better than Steph.
Your son is that much bigger than Steph Curry?
He bigger than Steph, because Steph Curry, what, 6'2"?
Steph Curry about 6'3".
Okay,
long
I'll
arms.
let him be 6'4". He's still shorter than my boy.
And we still laughed. But then LeVar Ball actually created his own pro league.
Junior Basketball Association, or JBA, was actually created by the outspoken father of Lakers player Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, he launched the JBA, the Junior Basketball Association, an alternative league for young hoopers who didn't want to go to college or overseas. LaMelo and LiAngelo both suited up. They had jerseys, coaches, referees, the whole setup. Now, it never took off like the NBA or even the G League, but for a hot second, Lavar really was running his own league. He talked it into existence, and for once, he didn't lie. But while Lavar was building empires, one former Celtic was busy picking fights over a tribute video. Next up, the petty battle between Paul Pierce and Isaiah Thomas. Let's get to it. Of all the NBA beefs, this might be the pettiest. Why? We're talking Paul Pierce, the truth Celtics legend, and Isaiah Thomas, the 5'9" warrior who bled green. Isaiah gave Boston everything, played through injury, played after losing his sister, damn near gave his hip for that city. Then they traded him, cold. So the Celtics wanted to honor him. A tribute video on his first night back at the Garden. But here's the twist. That same night, Paul Pierce's jersey was getting retired, and Pierce was furious. He didn't want his night tainted by an Isaiah Thomas tribute. Mind you, this was a video, not a statue. But Pierce said no, and the Celtics folded. Isaiah, being class as always, told the Celtics, "Give the night to Paul. He deserves it." You'd think that would be the weirdest Celtics moment of the year. But next up, their number 1 draft pick forgot how to shoot. And no, I'm not joking. Stay tuned. Imagine being the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. And then, suddenly, mid-season, it looks like you've never touched a basketball before. That was Markelle Fultz. Coming out of Washington, Fultz was the perfect piece for Philly. He could shoot. He could slash. He was supposed to unlock the process with Ben Simmons and Embiid. But almost immediately, something looked off. He twisted his ankle in summer league. Then his shot changed. We're talking complete mechanical breakdown, like Glitch 2K My Player type weird. And suddenly, the number 1 pick couldn't shoot free throws, couldn't shoot jumpers, couldn't even explain what was wrong. They said it was a shoulder issue, but no MRI ever proved it. It was like Fultz's confidence just evaporated. Then, out of nowhere, Sixers coach Brett Brown randomly announced he was back. No build-up, no press tour. And Fultz's jump shot still looked like a middle school science project. You think that's strange? Wait until you hear what J.R. Smith threw at his own coach. And it wasn't a basketball. J.R. Smith is known for a lot of things. Forgetting the score in the finals, launching heat checks from half court. But throwing soup at an assistant coach? That's one in a league of its own. It was March 2018. The Cavs were in the middle of a rocky season. Tension in the locker room. Rumors swirling. LeBron was frustrated. And JR was angry. Assistant coach Damon Jones said something slick during a team meeting. And JR didn't talk back. He grabbed a full bowl of soup, hot soup, and launched it right at Jones like it was Game 7 of the Food Network playoffs. Jones got drenched. Nobody got hurt, but JR was suspended 1 game.
The suspension, was JR starting tonight?
Yes.
To this day, no one knows what kind of soup it was, but fans still debate it like it was a second Zapruder film. Was it clam chowder? Tomato bisque? Maybe a chunky New England-style revenge stew? But hey, if throwing soup sounds reckless, wait till you hear about the all-star who tweeted he didn't want to be here. Mid-season. Sometimes a superstar demands a trade with an emotional press conference. Other times, they just tweet. That's all Eric Bledsoe needed. 3 words, 12 characters, instant chaos. At the time, Bledsoe was stuck on a tanking Phoenix Suns team that just fired their coach after 3 games. The vibes were cooked. So Bledsoe let Twitter do the talking. The Suns front office panicked. The media exploded. And Bledsoe? He claimed with a straight face that he was tweeting about a hair salon. Yeah, okay. A week and a half later, Bledsoe was traded to Milwaukee. a move that helped set up the Bucks' future championship run, all because of a haircut. But if you think that's wild, wait till you hear about the NBA player who suited up for games wearing an ankle monitor. There's load management, and then there's parole management. This is real. Back in 2017, Kavious CaldwellPope was on the Lakers and in legal trouble. He had been charged with a DUI the year prior while playing for Detroit, and as part of his 25-day jail sentence, he was granted a work release program. Translation: KCP could leave jail, only to hoop. He wasn't allowed to leave California, so for road games outside the state, DNP, personal reasons. But for home games, he'd suit up, hit the floor, drop buckets, with a court-mandated ankle monitor under his sock. Only in the NBA could you play the two-guard and still be on lockdown. But as bizarre as that was, you haven't heard anything yet. Because next up is a practice fight so brutal it left one player with a broken face, and the other suspended, then praised. Stay tuned. This wasn't your typical scuffle. It wasn't hold me back energy. This was bare-knuckle carnage between teammates before the season even began. In the final days of training camp, tensions were rising between Bobby Portis and Nikola Mirotic, both gunning for the starting power forward spot in Chicago. And then it happened. Mirotic shoved Portis, and Portis, he threw a haymaker. The punch shattered Mirotic's face.
Now, violence on the court. One Bulls player punched in the face and sent to the hospital.
Multiple fractures. He was out for months. Portis got suspended for 8 games and publicly apologized. But the damage was done, both physically and inside the locker room. Meanwhile, rookie Lauri Markkanen took full advantage, introducing himself to the league while the other two were literally and figuratively benched. And Mirotic, he told the front office it was him or Portis. But here's the thing, after a few months, they squashed the beef and played together again, like nothing happened. Until, of course, Mirotic was traded. But what if I told you there was another star, a superstar, who had everyone waiting on his return, while secretly refusing to play, even after being medically cleared, and that his own teammates were begging him to suit up? Let me tell you about the Kawhi Leonard saga next. This is the story of a star player, a mysterious injury, and a team completely in the dark. Kawhi Leonard was supposed to be the Spurs' next franchise legend, but in 2017 to 2018, he turned into a ghost. At first, the reports were simple, minor quad injury, and it became he'll miss the opener. Then a few more games, then silence. Weeks turned into months. Kawhi played just 9 games that season, but the strangest part, the team doctors cleared him. Still, Kawhi didn't return. The Spurs, known for stability and quiet professionalism, were publicly frustrated. Tony Parker called it not that bad and played through something 100 times worse. Rumors of a players-only meeting leaked where teammates allegedly begged him to suit up. Kawhi stayed silent, then vanished again. The trust was shattered. By summer, Kawhi was traded to Toronto, where he immediately returned to dominance and won a title the very next season. But speaking of trust, what if I told you that during this exact same NBA season, 2 teams almost came to blows in a secret tunnel war? I'm dead serious. Let me tell you about the time Chris Paul led a covert tunnel ambush on his old team and nearly started an NBA civil war. Coming next. All right, you ready for the wildest story of them all? Because this one sounds like a deleted scene from Ocean's 11.
You broke into my vault. Congratulations. You're a dead man.
But it actually happened. It was January 2018. The Houston Rockets, led by James Harden and Chris Paul, were in LA to face CP3's old squad, the Clippers. And if you thought this was just another regular season game, oh no, tensions were sky high. CP3 had beef with Blake Griffin. Austin Rivers was running his mouth from the bench. There was history, and it boiled over fast. After the buzzer, it didn't stop. Chris Paul knew the layout of Staples Center like the back of his hand. So he did what any former franchise star turned spy would do. He led a secret mission through a hidden tunnel underneath the arena. I'm serious. Chris Paul, James Harden, Gerald Green, Trevor Ariza. They literally snuck through the back tunnels of the arena to confront the Clippers in their locker room. And it gets even better. Clint Capella, the decoy, walked up to the front entrance of the Clippers locker room and knocked. When they opened it and saw him, they slammed it shut in his face. Meanwhile, Harden and CP3 were in the back trying to get through security like it was Call of Duty NBA Ops. No punches were thrown, but league security had to de-escalate the situation and escort the Rockets out before it turned into World War III. The NBA launched an investigation. Fines were handed out. But the legend of the Tunnel War, it'll live on forever. So, the next time someone tells you the NBA is just about basketball, remind them it's also about fake players and warm-ups, covert ambushes, and soup assaults. This league is more than a game. It's a soap opera with sneakers. This has been NBA Stories You Won't Believe. And believe me, we only scratched the surface.